afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. I hope that you had a great day of trucking out there. If you can see right here on my left shoulder, or my right shoulder, I can't tell where this camera is. I got Steve peeking over my shoulder, and I got myself peeking over my other shoulder there. Got a little bit of background that I'm trying to mess with a little bit tonight, but anyway, I hope everybody's doing good. We have got a special show for you guys tonight. If y'all out there trucking, y'all stay safe tonight. Y'all keep it in between the white lines. And hey, y'all make sure that y'all do the most important thing is y'all get to your point and get back and get home to your families. Like I said, we got a good show lined up for you tonight. Steve is on location. And I'll let him tell you where it's at whenever he comes in here in just a few minutes. But we got a special guest that's going to come in here and tell us how he got into trucking and what he's been doing in the trucking industry, the things that he's got going on, what he's involved in. And he'll even talk a little bit about his family and everything else. But anyway, we're going to have Russ Simpson come in here with us tonight. A lot of y'all might know Russ. And if you don't, after tonight, you will know him. Russ is a great guy, a great ambassador for the industry. I've been knowing Russ for a little while now, and the first time I met him, I liked him. So, hey, that says a lot right there. I sure hope the feeling was mutual there. But anyway, without further ado, I've got a little short video clip I want to just show you before we bring Russell and Steve in here tonight. It just tells you a little bit about what kind of person Russell is and how much he loves this industry. So y'all bear with me. Then we'll bring that other old show host in here, and we'll get this show kicked off in a few minutes. Oh, before we get started, let me remind everybody that the views expressed on this show are those of the host and the guest only and do not reflect those of others. So we got that out of the way, and I'll post that right there on the bottom of the screen. But let's go ahead and go to that video and let y'all see a little bit about Russ.
Hastings did and is giving you a bird's eye view and a reminder to all drivers about safety on the roads.
The open road has been Russell Simpson's office for the last 30 years. His love for truck driving began at an early age.
My dad, he took me out when I was 18. We went to the high school parking lot and set up cans, and he said, if you're going to do this, son, you're going to be good at it.
His dad's teaching and hard work paid off. Simpson is a through the American Trucking Association.
I'm from small town USA. This is like a Heisman Trophy for a truck driver to me.
He, along with two others from the Dayton area, were picked out of 2,000 to highlight the trucking industry.
To talk about safety, go out, teach senior citizens about the truck's limitations. They're really the spokespeople for the industry because they're the ones on the highway every day.
Simpson says and winter weather, it's sometimes difficult to see other cars.
Light-colored cars, they blend in with the snow. When the road's covered, and so many people don't turn their headlights on. You ain't good because you can't even see them hitting the road, but it's for everybody else around you so they can see you coming.
Simpson has been accident-free and attributes his safety record to being a defensive driver, anticipating everyone's move, paying attention to the road, and putting down all distractions. He asks you do the same.
Lots of room, be patient. We're here to share the road safely with you too.
Drive normal cars if you take anything away from them.
Yeah, he says distraction is the key, so put down your cell phones and pay attention.
Yeah, they see it all up there. All right, thanks so much for joining us here.
All right, so that's just a little bit. That video was quite a bit jumpy. It may be my internet connection over here in South Georgia. We are having severe weather over here tonight, so my internet connection could be a little shaky tonight. Y'all just gonna have to bear with me. But without further ado, I do want to bring Steve and Russ on in here. So if I'm gonna key up the intro music here and bring them on in here. Turn down for what? What's up, Steve? What's up, Russ?
What's going on, baby?
How are you? That's good music selection.
There you go. There you go. We may have to move a little bit there. There we go.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, how'd you like that intro? I mean, I know the video was a little shaky. Was it shaky on y'all's end? It was shaky on my end.
Yeah, it's a little shaky, but it's all good, man. It's all good.
That's good.
So,
that's good.
Hey, well, we are coming to y'all live from Kalahari Water Park and Resort in Sandusky, Ohio. This is the home of the Ohio Truck Driving Championship for the next couple days. So we're having fun.
That's what we're here for.
To have fun. That's right. That's what it's all about. You don't have no competitors there except for one, and that's that course out there. There's nobody else your competitor. You got to beat that course.
Exactly. It's you and the course, man. It's you and the course. Don't worry about anybody else. Just do what you do best and hit your marks and be on it. And then Saturday night, we'll find out who the winners are.
That's right. I'm going to be tuning in. I hope somebody will be shooting it live or something. So if I can see it, So you are in Sandusky, Ohio at the Kalahari Resort there. I think you did a live remote from there last year, Steve.
Yes, sir.
But you look a little better this year, especially, with the company that you're keeping there.
Hey, that's why I got him on the show, so he makes me look better. I mean,
he wanted to do this on an iPad instead of his cell phone to simply help him look better. I'm like, the bigger screen's not going to do nothing, Steve.
Well, hey, I'm not telling everybody, but I know y'all really holding hands under the table there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, both what are they? See, both my hands are up here. They're up here.
Me and Steve go way back. We talk almost every day.
Exactly.
There you go.
Except for when I forget to call him and tell him about a wreck.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard about that. Russell, he hangs out the drive, Russ.
Yeah, he did.
I didn't mean to, man. I didn't mean to. He just had a different uniform on, so I forgot about him. Sorry.
That's how those FedEx drivers are, Russ. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
So Russell, thank you for coming on the show tonight, taking the time. I know you're a busy man, and I actually been thinking about this for a long time. And Steve reminded me that y'all were going to be together the other day, and I was like, "Hey, ask him." So here we are. And what we want to know from you tonight, Russell, is we want to know your story, how you got into trucking, and everything that you're doing in the trucking industry now. Before we get started, I like Steve and I always say we have no scripted questions or anything. Everything's just coming off the top of the head there. So it's just a bunch of truck drivers getting together, and we're having a roundtable discussion here tonight. So, but first of all, Russell, we're going to back off the mic, and we're going to let you have your say. Tell us your story, Russell.
First of all, can you see my shirt?
I am a trucker.
Is it back? We know that one backwards. That pretty much says it all. I mean, I'll skip from birth to like sixth grade, but about age 6, I grew up in agriculture on a farm, and we learned how to drive things long before we could touch the pedals. I was always good at backing hay wagons and anything that had a steering wheel and gear shifter. I learned how to drive, and I was very fortunate that my dad and grandpa, when I was probably 6th or 7th grade, I started riding with them. We always sold our hay to the horse farms out of Kentucky. And every Saturday, or when I wasn't in school, I'd ride down there with one of them, either dad or grandpa or one of my uncles. And, most of those horse farms had really long driveways. So as soon as we pull in there, they let me get over in the driver's seat. And I think that's how you get hooked. It's a lot of driver stories. They start out that way, riding with their parents and whatnot. And so most of the trucking that I did once I got I got the chauffeur's license when I was 18, naturally. But most of the trucking that I did, was local stuff, agriculture, commodities, to the elevators and whatnot. Never really had a desire or a background to where I could, drive over the road until I turned like 19 years old. And I thought, I'm going to give us a shot. So I started hauling cattle for a neighbor farmer, and I did that for about 3 years. It was like mainly Midwest, a lot of Florida, up into Canada about once a week. It was always dairy cows, the Holsteins. And a funny story, about 3 weeks ago, well, I was in March, we were down at the Louisville Truck Show, and another captain, Bill McNamee and Gina from Warner, they were for the TA Citizen Driver Award, where they name a truck stop after a driver. Herschel Evans got named, last year. So there was a young guy he hadn't been with TA Petro very long, in a suit, sat down at the table beside me, and he's picking my brain about how the industry has changed, how the truck stops have changed, because he wanted to know how things were back, when we all got started in trucking. And I said, I remember the first time I was telling the story, I didn't really come from a over the road background. So I was really nervous about the first time I had to spend the night and take a shower in a truck stop, because I'm envisioning gym class. You go into after PE class, you got to all go in the shower room. Here's this round, or the shower heads are all along the walls, and you're in there just with all your classmates taking a shower. And, I'm thinking this, I'm going in this shower house, and here's all these truckers. I don't want to see in their clothes, let alone naked. And I walk in there, I get the key from the guy, paid my fuel, he gave me my free shower, and I walk in there, open this door, and there's my own little private shower, a little bathroom. And I thought, I was so relieved. I told that TA Petro young guy that, and he laughed. But then I kind of find out that's the way some of the showers in the truck stops were. I found out from some other guys that they were like that back in the day. So after I got out of cattle hauling, I decided there was better things to do that wasn't quite so dirty. So I got into freight. Got on with a guy at church told me about Holland, and I went there and worked. And I've been there. I'll be 30 years. I've been with Holland, which is now transitioning into yellow freight, but I'll be 30 years there in July, and I've always been a local P&D driver. I've always enjoyed that part of it, getting in and out, talking to customers. And I'll tell you, my hat's off for line haul people that do that on a daily basis, because I knew pretty early on in my career that was not what I want to do.
Yeah.
I didn't like being gone, and so that's pretty much how it's that's pretty much my story.
I got you. Your story is kind of similar to mine. I actually grew up on the farm and, started out. I always said, I've always had a steering wheel in my hand of some kind. And I was talking to somebody, did a speech, and that was part of my speech that I did. And I said, yeah, I grew up in the South Georgia, and spraying cotton and harrowing the fields. And somebody asked me a couple of years later, they said, I got a question to ask you, Tim. What does it mean to harrow? And I kind of had to explain what harrowing was, So that just tells you the difference. Somebody that grew up on the farm and somebody that don't know,
Yeah.
But Russell, we thank you for what you've done in the trucking industry, and I've watched you since I've known you, and you are a true professional in the sense of it all.
Well, I feel it's mutual for you, Tim, too. I'll tell you, you're a true professional yourself.
I appreciate it. Tell Steve I got him. He can come back in the screen now.
Okay.
I'll be back in just a second. Go ahead, y'all talk. I'll be back.
Well, Russell, just tell us a little bit about cattle hauling there. I mean, was that something that was kind of interesting to you when you first got into it? Did you haul for yourself, or did you haul for somebody else?
It was another local farmer that we were friends. But I think, it takes a special person to do that. You got to be pretty good with livestock, particularly because all I hauled was a Holstein dairy cow. So one of the places we would go, we'd haul them from Canada back to the States, because back then the money exchange was different. So he was brokering these cattle where you were buying them up there for like $1,000, but they were worth, $1,500 down here. But when you got to the border of Michigan, you had to take them to the vet station. They had to all be unloaded. They had health papers that went with them, and they had to all have an ear tag that matched those health papers. Now, I always was raised around cattle, so I knew how to do stuff like that. I think that's a trade, a segment of our industry. I can't see a new guy just taking off and becoming a livestock hauler where it's in pigs or anything. I mean,
Right.
but,
Russ, what happened when a cow went down on you?
well, the main thing I had was they would buy these cows and they were real close to having their babies because as soon as they had their calves, that's when their milk came in and they would put them into production. So several times, calves were born. I'd always stop down there at Bowling Green, that rest area, and I'd get out and look at them. And I think I had probably 6 or 7 that were born over my 3 years. By the time I got back down to Ohio with them.
I mean, if one fell down, did you have to get up in there and get them
No,
picked back up?
you wouldn't want to get in there with them. I mean, you'd get hurt pretty easy getting in there with them. You just have to. You can try to stick something through the side of the trailer to kind of
Right.
Prod 'em.
Yeah.
I've never hauled livestock or anything, but I've always heard that the last thing you want is a cow to go down on you because they'll trample it.
Yep.
And you don't want to pull up to the sale barn with a dead cow because that cuts your profits.
Most of the time they would stand the whole time. I mean, I'd haul them to Florida. It'd be a 20-hour trip. That was back before. That was one thing that it didn't seem like the DOT messed with the livestock haulers. They didn't want to crawl in the truck for one thing, and they knew you had a commodity on there that was gonna. You couldn't deadline us for 10 hours if something happened.
Yeah.
To them.
So that was going to be my next question there to you, Russ. So when somebody was hauling livestock like that and they break down, what's usually the protocol for that?
Well, there's lanes that they run. I mean, a lot of the pig haulers, they're going to the packing houses. In the summertime, especially, it's you really got to be careful. A lot of the trucks will have watering spray misters in them to where they'll water. Pigs are really sensitive to heat. They only sweat out through their nose versus cows. They sweat out through their whole body. So
Right.
pigs get overheated pretty quick. So when they get to the packing houses, if there'd be a line of trucks that took an hour to get unloaded, they'd come out there immediately with big fire hoses and water them down until it was time for them. But there would always be somebody they could come along with another truck to hook under there and get them going because that's one thing you don't want to see broke down on the side of the road.
Right. So speaking of transitioning from hauling livestock into the LTL industry, when you did that, what kind of not shock? I don't want to use the word shock, but what kind of change did you see? I mean, what was your feelings about that?
Well, it's kind of like my first day with the shower. When I walked in the LTL industry, I was like, it was a whole different ballgame. I remember the first day I walked in there, the guy at church that invited me in there to work, he took me up there and introduced me to the dispatcher. He's like, just show up here about 2:00. And I remember asking him, do we need gloves up there or anything? He goes, I don't give a crap what you wear. You're moving freight. They're your hands. So, yeah. But I tell you, I fell in love with the LTL industry from day one. I mean, it was just a challenge of getting in and out of these places. We delivered a lot of farms, a lot of Amish in Ohio, and some of the places you go, a lot of our new drivers won't even tackle it. They're like, nah, I'm not trying that.
Right. So, Steve, I'll back out and let you get some in there.
I was just going to make a funny comment. I used to run out to Bloomington, Illinois, meet Des Moines, Iowa. So I got a lot of cow trucks. A lot of them little piglets would come out of Kentucky, going out to Iowa. I used to call them bacon bits. A whole load of bacon bits. I mean, here comes a whole load of bacon bits. Check them out, baby. But yeah.
I got you. So Russ, over the years, you've been in the LTL industry for going over 30 years now, right?
Yeah, 30 years, yeah.
So take us down that road. Tell us a little bit about the changes in the LTL industries that you have seen.
Well, the one thing I never thought I'd be thankful for is a cell phone. I mean, I remember back when we started making deliveries, you're relying, and basically when you're over the road truck driver too, I mean, you were relying on some young girl or somebody in the office to call over there to get directions to, how am I supposed to get in there? And you're counting on her to be able to give you the right directions. But, I carried a lot of city maps with me. I'm very fortunate that my whole LTL career has been in Ohio. So 100-mile radius of, Columbus, Ohio, basically. We went with city maps. We had county maps.
Yeah.
Where now, you can GPS something. I've run the same area for so long. I haven't looked at the GPS in so long. You just know the roads. But yeah, I'll tell you, it's a good
And with
living.
that said, he's my GPS.
Yeah.
Whenever the road's closed, got a wreck or something up and down 71, I'm like, hey, Russ, wreck here, road's closed, where do I go? So he's saved me a few times, and I really appreciate it. That's that pay it forward.
Yeah.
Pay it forward, help each other out, and everything else. I mean, that's you talked about getting directions. I used to run Chicago a lot, and the young lady would answer the phone, such and such manufacturer, and you say, "Good morning, how you doing?" You say, "Fine." First thing you ask her, "What kind of do you drive a Volkswagen Beetlebug to work?" And she would laugh because I'm 13.6. Anybody that knows Chicago's got a bunch of low bridges, and the last thing you want her to do is tell you how she gets to work because she takes every shortcut.
Right.
And we've all seen them videos on, whatever, them guys hitting them 12.6 bridges and 10.9 bridges. And yeah, it's interesting. When you call somebody and you're getting that directions, you're dependent on them. You want to make very sure they know you're 8-10 foot wide, you're 14 foot tall. You cannot go in the neighborhood. So
Right.
I'll tell you another big change, Tim, is back when I started, when all of us started, we got in the LTL, it wasn't like you were walking in off the street and getting one of these jobs at the companies that we're working for. You had to have a tenure of like 5 or 6 years behind the wheel. Basically, you had to have somebody that worked for that company to go in and say, "Hey, man, hire this Russ Simpson. He's a good guy." Whereas today, 30 years later, I never thought I'd see the day where we can't find drivers to fill the LTL seats, where you're home every night. You're basically paid by the mile or by the hour. You're off on the weekends, and we can't get guys out of truck driving school to stay longer than a couple of weeks. And that was always the problem, in the truckload. They always struggled filling the seats, but I tell you, we're having the same trouble now, like they had.
Right. And I see that too. Also, Russell, I know that just I don't want to sound demeaning here, but it's just the work ethic is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
And the trucking industry, and you and Steve and everybody that's listening in the room can agree with this. It's a well-paying industry. I mean, I've been able to put 2 kids through college with it, and made a good living at it, and no regrets on my end. And I mean, you find that to be the same, right?
Yeah. If I'd do it all over again, I'd choose the same path. I mean, I've enjoyed every day that I've been a driver in the industry. I knew when I was a young boy that's what I wanted to do, and my grandpa told me a long time ago that the problem people have is when they jump from job to job. You got to find something that you enjoy and stick with it. And
right.
And
well,
yeah,
go ahead, Steve.
You get people. I'm sorry, I mean to interrupt, but you get people that like us that's been around 25, 30 years with the same company. The company really appreciates that. I mean, you've got a lot of people that come in. I stopped and seen my mother-in-law on the way up here, and we was talking about jobs and everything. And anymore, people just ignore somebody comes in the door that had 5, 6, 7 jobs. They're like, well, we need help. We'll see what happens. But like Russ said, I had 7 years coast to coast before I come here. And it took me 5 months to get hired on with American Freightways. They just, they didn't have room for me, but he was very stringent on what I did. Could I? Back then, not everybody could just get in a truck and pull doubles down the road. I mean, you had to be a little safer,
Right.
And now, I mean, we're bringing young people out of schools, and they're lasting 6 months to a year, and they're walking away. And
Right.
I'm the ones that are leaving us and going to long haul. Now,
Right.
I know 1 or 2, they made it about 3 months of long haul and said, wow, I want to go back to LTL. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's unique and different. Russ, I was going to ask you though, being city, do you have many trouble like when I was running appointment times? how's the LTL work? Do you guys have like just a time window that you hit, or you actually have appointments?
Well, most of the stuff that I do it's not appointed. There's only like one customer in Mansfield that actually has an appointment schedule, and that's School Specialties. But a lot of the big, your metro areas, anything like food related, medical related, basically has to have an appointment call ahead. They need to know what's coming in.
Right. I mean, the reason I'm asking we're talking 27 years ago, but you'd be sitting there unloading, you see the guy with yellow roadway, ABF, whatever, he just pulls in. It's like, they'd have 8 doors and the first 2 would be blocked off, so to speak. And the LTL guys would come in and kick a pallet or 2 off and leave. And you're still sitting there twiddling your thumbs 2 hours later, waiting on the guy to come by and unload you.
Yeah.
So
you kind of feel bad for some of them over the road guys, because I tell you, they get the short end of the stick a lot, especially some of these companies really working on stuff like that.
Well, Russell, going back to what I asked you earlier about, some of the changes in the industry, and I asked Don Biggerstaff this last week. We had, was it last week before last, we had Don Biggerstaff on the show, which was a great show. Some of the things that have changed was some of the trucks. So tell us a little bit about some of the trucks that you've driven over the years.
Well, when I very first started out, it was a Dodge pickup, 3 on the tree. Dad and Grandpa had us out there, me and my brothers, picking up hay. They'd purposely put it on a hill and make us try to get that thing going. Then jumped up to like a 62 Chevy. It was an old dump truck my dad had, 5-speed with 2-speed axle with an inline 6, 230 cubic inch Chevy engine. That's it right there. Spent a lot of hours on that baby. I tell you, I'd like to have some of these new guys we got, take them out and hat one day. They just be like, but when I was hauling cattle, it was a 1979 4070 Transtar 2, had a 8V92 Detroit with 13 speed. I've driven about everything but a Western Star. Never driven a Western Star.
Gotcha.
I never thought I'd see. Steve and I was talking about this earlier today. I remember in the TDC about 08 or 09, they started putting automatics in the classes at the truck driver championships, and there'd always be some grumbling. Oh man, got an automatic in this class because you're so used to driving manual. Well, I bet if you threw a manual in the competition tomorrow, you'd have that same grumbling against these new guys. Be like, oh shoot, man, I drew the manual, because half of them can't drive them.
Right. Yeah, it's all in what somebody gets used to. And I'll say this, and I talked to Don Biggerstaff about this last week about the time from where we was in the city trucks with no AC to from the highways to the heartstrings. He's back with a sound that moves like an 18-wheeler on the open road.
Well, pour me another cup of coffee. Here it's the best in the
Our good friend and proud supporter of Truckers' Voices, Patrick Loro, is rolling out his brand new album, and it's loaded with soul, grit, and pure trucking spirit.
Put another nickel in the jukebox. Play the song called The Truck Driving Man.
Featuring the hit singles Truck Driving Man, this album is a tribute to the men and women who keep America moving.
I got those big wheels turning. I'm on my way to San Antonio. Well, pour me another.
Whether you're driving throughout the night or kicking back at the truck stop, Patrick Loro's music will ride with you every single mile.
Well, pour me
so check out Patrick Loro's new album, Truck Driving Man, and you can click this QR code right here to buy it. Download all the songs he has on there for only $13. Thank you.
Play the song called The Truck Driving Man.